Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We're in Los Angeles live, and I'm your host, Young Brando. We're going to talk about some watches. There's some interesting uh, controversy that I want to attend to. I was just puzzled to see it in the first place, but it's there, and I thought it's something that, again, requires my humble intervention, as we did last night. And apparently, some sales reps got into their feelings about it, but nothing to worry about. I'm talking about how certain brands like Vacheron Constantin started cutting corners, which is for all of you to see, even in the making of their rotors. But of course, they're going to present you all sorts of excuses. And if you choose to believe that rather than what I explained, um, hey, that's on you. Hi, Maldives. How are you doing, man? Nice to see you. Oh, nice. Hey,
How you doing?
this is amazing. How are you, Ozzy?
Good, good. What were you doing hosting that Tudor hater on your stream?
I
Ridiculous.
think OC is just a hater, universally speaking.
It's just
It's if he doesn't like something, he hates it.
yeah.
And in that case, by the way, even though we have very little ground that we actually agree on, I like him because he's in that way he's exactly like me, right? I either love something or hate something. There's no middle ground. I don't spare, I don't mince words when I have something to say. So I appreciate that coming from people. I actually love Tudor. And
Yeah.
I put myself in a situation yesterday which I'm sure won't be a real threat, but
Yeah. I think our mutual friend Ken um
Cloud can.
yeah, Clark probably hates Tudor in the same way that OC does. And
Mhm.
that I feel that OC doesn't genuinely dislike the watches, just dislikes that it's not a prestige brand and doesn't hold lots of value, quote unquote.
Right.
Like I've never heard him say anything bad about maybe the obvious ones like, oh, I don't like the thickness of the GMT, or but certainly if a lot of the newer Tudors, the
Yeah, and I mean that's everyone says that, and I that's also my main criticism, but it's in a way mitigated, I guess, in two ways, right? For me, one, I feel, hey, Ryan Hoffrey, nice to see you. If he has a new tutor coming, he has to unbox it here. I think
no.
we have done it before.
I I didn't mean to buy a Tudor this year. It happened. Like they release a watch
I see
basically
that.
on my birthday, and then my AD calls me. I'm like, it's going to be very, very difficult not to pull the trigger. Especially, I loved it. I loved it. Like on release, I feel like it's a watch that you can regret buying. Like
Is this? Are we talking about the Lagoon Blue?
yeah, the Lagoon Blue
Yeah.
54. It's a very summer watch. It's fully glamorous. There's
Do
nothing
you
shy about it.
remember that? That's basically like the beginning of our live stream collaboration relationship, right? That a certain group stiffed uh, bondage and discipline, like you're
Right.
making by a watch that it will
Yeah, yeah, it
you
was
regret.
very, very early. You got the ultimate summer watch. What was that? What did we say? It
I'm
was
gonna say it, but like it's like it was so bad and so timed,
mhm.
so occasional, like you pointed out, that
Yes.
most people I'm sure don't even remember what watch it was because it took him like maybe a month to sell it.
I'm pretty
I
sure it was
thought
like
flew up.
weeks. It was not even a month. I don't think it's even
Maybe.
a month.
Um, happy birthday to Ryan Hoffrey. I remember it. You
Come
you
on.
kept repeating it every single time. Look, I mean, it's a pleasure, of course.
I'm accused of being boring. I don't. I feel it. It depends who I'm with, you know. It depends.
I, honestly, I'm a drama queen,
Hmm.
so I have had in the past, I'm not talking about my 40th, which passed last year,
Mm.
but I've built myself up in the past for so many birthdays, and nothing happened. Like most people in my life, except for my mother, didn't even remember or call me or reach out to me.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I stopped caring, like,
Yeah.
about 10 years ago,
Well,
because
as guys, we don't ask each other when our birthdays are. We don't, you know, it sort of leaks out through wives. But if you don't have a wife, then
and I don't. No, you're right. There was a little animated Instagram skit
Mhm.
about this, like, that someone walks in, a woman with my feminine behavior, saying, like, oh, I'm done with Jessica. She didn't call me on my birthday. And these two guys are, like, furiously playing a video game, and they start talking to each other. It turns out they don't forget about their birthdays. They don't even know each other's names, right?
Yeah.
It's just, they have been hanging out since kindergarten, and that's what most male friendships are.
Mm.
Um, I was mostly talking about family. That pisses me off, but that's another. That you're not my therapist, so I don't need to tell you that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. In defense, like this here, the Tudor the FXD in black. Anyone who's got this watch, it's their most worn watch. Like,
you
come on,
get the Wu Tang sign
There
right.
we go. Yeah, we
Get the
go.
Wu Tang sign right, Aussie. That's how you
Oh, it's just
get it
zooming
focused.
in and in and in. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's trying to find a face.
You
It's got this face.
Yeah, you realize, Aussie, it's like a lot of times when you have, like, I know you like over engineered stuff, obviously, it's
Hmm.
it's your métier, so to speak, but
Yeah.
a lot of times they just create problems for you.
I do have control of it, but I don't know what it's doing.
That's what Skynet wants you to think.
Uh,
Ryan Offrey says, by the way, OC gave you high praise on a stream today. Well, I
okay.
appreciate that, but it's sometimes it's just well deserved, right? So
Yeah.
when it comes, I appreciate it. Thank you, but I deserve it. I'm sorry. My daughter was wonderful today. You're blessed to have her, and I'm glad that you were with her, or at least spent some time with her. Julius Caesar says Tudor is a good watch, but generally don't vibe with them. Different strokes for different folks. Yeah, I was gonna just quickly say that, like, to me, the problem with the thickness is mostly one of I know.
It's only specific models though. It's not
No, it's
like
all of them for me, because in the sense that, like, for me, it's something like a cognitive dissonance, because the
yeah.
aesthetic is so vintage, like it's so
Mm,
4-digit, 5-digit Rolex.
yeah.
For me, that thickness gets to me, because that's not how 4-digit and 5-digit Rolex is. That being said, and the reason I don't use that as a knock on Tudor,
Mm,
even though it holds me back from getting one, it's because I'm mature enough as a customer to understand that they need to do something to distinguish themselves from
mm,
Rolex. Like they cannot use Submariner hands, Mercedes hands on black base.
mm.
They can't, right? They can't come up with thinner movements, no matter the complication or lack thereof,
Well,
because the
they
product
they
will
do have the
will
new
do
GMT
similar.
movement. They do have the new GMT movement, like the FXD GMT.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's almost exactly the same height as this,
Come on.
and I think it's almost the exact same height as
Yeah.
this, and it's very good. Basically, it's
Mhm.
very good. And including they also have another the 58 GMT. Now the colorway with the gilt on Coke, it doesn't really work that well, but it is not thicker than a Rolex, if I recall.
And also, that's again what we might desire, what we demand from them as customers does not have to be always their priority, right?
Yeah.
And like, think about all these limited edition, or, like, rather special chronographs that they have come up with, even though they already have at least a working prototype of a new movement developed since years now, right? So they have different priorities. As long as it works for them commercially, we can criticize it, we can chop it up, we can break it down, but at the end of the day, it matters very little. And that's my position, not only with Tudor, but also with AP. So it's, for me, it's not a problem of segment, it's a problem of my expectations from a certain brand that brand doesn't exactly deliver, and I nitpick. So if there's one crucial thing missing for me, I just won't go ahead with a purchase.
Yeah. It probably, they probably put it on the shelf because the chronographs that have the current movement, they're doing pretty well, all things considered. You know what I mean? Like they'd end up having to increase their costs dramatically by putting in production a new movement. For
What do you
what
mean, all
watch?
things considered? I think, forget about all things considered, they're
Uh-huh.
just doing really well. I think, like, you can't say that without qualification, no?
I don't know. I mean, like the reports show that their total sales are like way down compared to previous years, but I think the chronos are doing, they're doing quite well, from,
But
I think,
I think that's more of a sophomore slump than anything, right? Because when Tudor, in a way, was revived and entered the US market um, with that new energy
yeah.
more than 10 years ago now, they really broke their shell. They became something else finally than simply being
Mm.
Rolex's little brother. So for me, beyond the macroeconomic situation, beyond the general contraction that the watch market is inevitably facing, um, it's normal. They're not gonna break the charts in their second decade as well. I think it's really about how they ride this second decade, how they, how successful their second album is going to be in those terms, that we will see whether they will have that longevity. So I don't think it's necessarily a disaster that they're not selling as well, because the novelty wore out, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit I feel like there's a little bit of a case that a lot more people got more savvy to the watch market in general, like regular people, like entry level looking at their first piece. And I think that the a lot more people recognize that they should actually just get a Rolex. And I'm not saying this is the Tudors, a poor man's Rolex type thing. I mean, just in general, I think if it's either a Cartier or a Rolex is what is what I think is happening.
I mean, it goes back to certain observations you were making about how the luxury market develops in times of austerity. People are inevitably led to safer choices, right? We could be talking about a third or fourth brand. It doesn't even need to be directly related to Rolex.
Yeah.
It's just Rolex is, even among, even if you count the brands again that generally broke to the mainstream, especially since 2016, especially since the pandemic, and I'm counting Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, different price segments, yes,
Yeah.
but even those brands, for people who have money, contain a certain risk, right? For for people who are entering the watch market and who still, rightly or
Yeah.
wrongly, more or less look at watches as some sort of investment.
I've got a very wealthy friend playing the AP game,
Yeah,
and it costs a lot of money.
and nothing.
It's just
Yeah,
really, really
it's
expensive.
simply not as safe as getting a common sense Rolex. It's not, like, that I know times have changed, right? That when I was coming up, I didn't have enough money for it, but you could actually get discounts for basically any model of AP unless it was a limited edition. Um, and nowadays, you see a lot of the pieces from previous generations, because again, a lot of AP's customer base is attracted to newer and shinier things,
Mhm.
are relative bargains, right? So it's, who knows that these generations of chronographs and oversized Royal Oaks and offshores and Code 1159s, they might turn into absolute toxic sludge next decade,
Mhm.
because you can't sustain a hype forever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think and I've seen a few posts on social media. I think the RD3 is an interesting one. I think you spoke to my friend regarding that potential purchase, and it's a tough one. On the surface, it's just really tough. It's just such a high MSRP for some of these
We're talking
APs.
about the flying tourbillon Royal Oak, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's just such a high price tag, and there are similar but not as how do you say exclusive. But it's hard to judge exclusivity when it's just a number, because there's certainly the boutiques have had a hard time selling these in total, as best as I can tell, because I see
Yeah,
people it being offered to them. No one's really asked for them. On the surface, it's a great watch. It's just very expensive.
that's it. And again, if at the end of the day it comes down to, this is just with any collectible, and thankfully watches are genuinely, mechanical watches are
Mm,
genuinely more timeless than most of them. But it's like, there are people who stockpile cigars, there are people who stockpile good whiskey,
mm,
right? But at the end of the day, at least when you invest in things that you like cigars you like to smoke, whiskey that you like to drink, watches that you like to wear, when the market value tanks, you at least have a good bottle of scotch to
yeah,
to break into with your friends, right? You at
you at
least
least
have a
get to enjoy it.
few sticks of dollar bills to to just burn. Um, it's with watches, it should be the same thing. Now that people always want to caricaturize this whole relationship, right? It doesn't have to happen in a black and white way. Like, it's not like you have to just throw your money away and that money is burned when you
Hmm.
buy a watch that contains a certain risk. No, it is a calculated risk. it
Hmm.
is it is a it is a risk that you might or might not be willing to take, might or might not be able to take, according to your financial situation.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it was a one shot journey to get to an open work.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets that soon. I think his watch prior to that, ceramic chrono,
Hmm.
black, absolutely beautiful watch. I mean, I definitely changed my opinion. Like, I
About the
definitely
ceramic AP, you mean, in general, or just that
yeah,
watch?
just everything. Like, I thought if I was going to get an AP white dial, just a regular one, 41 steel. But yeah, his black ceramic chrono. I've thought about offering him money a few times because it's good. But as best I can tell, it's his favorite too. So he wouldn't. I don't think there's any chance he'd let it go.
I think Cars and Chrono has that as well.
Mm. I think it's very cool because it's black. I don't have a blacked out watch. I've always liked the aesthetic of something completely, blacked out. There aren't many watches like that. Tudor's got one or two that are sort of, blacked up a little bit, but I think this is like it's kind of the ultimate. And I've also decided I really like Royal Oak and Chrono because of the pushes. It just looks so industrial, and
Yeah.
it just emphasizes that more.
Honestly, I've always liked the Royal Oak Chrono, except I'm beating that horse,
Mm,
except for the date window.
mm.
I wish they had at least one iteration that
Just
did
gets
not
rid of
have
it.
a date.
Yeah, just remove it.
I would still love a so-called Kasparov, right? Because the original Royal Oak chronograph um, beyond the offshore series
Mm.
in a 39 millimeter case was introduced with Kerry Kasparov as its ambassador, so it's still called that. I think I would still like a 39 like that, even with the date window. But I think otherwise, it's just it's such a cool design, the Royal Oak. I mean, it's obvious to say, it's very hype, but it's
I'm not a fan of it in
something very
steel
special.
anymore. Like I've seen it
No,
many times. I've tried to convince myself to like it, and in steel, I'm just, pretty underwhelmed.
you have had enough. You have had enough, huh? Or no, or you just don't find it as special anymore.
Yeah, it just doesn't look that nice to me. Like the finish on it is just not like, it's not quote unquote next level to me. It just, I personally actually think Steel Daytona, it looks better to me. Like the way that it's finished, it just looks better to me.
It is what it is, man. I mean, I can't change your mind on that, except to contextualize it in a certain way. That I think that level of finishing, especially for those real luxury segment brands in early 70s,
Mm-hmm.
working on stainless steel, had that novelty factor,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of like what Freud is today for mainstream psychology, and childhood development, right? It's like everyone denies Freud. He's canceled. He's done. But some of his main insights have been already absorbed into mainstream understandings of human psyche,
Yeah.
right? So in the same way, what came out in 1972 in many ways defined up until our generation what a luxury stainless steel sports watch is. And now it's, when certain people consider that old news and nothing too special,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I can't deny that to them, right? And also, especially because you are saying that in other materials, it still looks interesting to you. It still looks
Mm-hmm.
captivating to you. So there is something about that design that still transcends that initial moment of novelty. Although
Mm-hmm.
for you, stainless steel is not that special. I respect that. I
Yeah.
understand.
And I also like the dial. Like I find that the just the tapisserie dial on regular Royal Oak, it's a little vacant. It's simple, it is,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think this just really kicks ass. Is it genuinely $125,000 kicks ass? That's a tough
Probably not.
one. I mean, I would not purchase it as like the first piece. Like my first $50,000 would definitely go to like a Rolex GMT and a Daytona. Hopefully, you can get both for
I
for
love this,
fifty
by the
thousand
way.
dollars. But that's cool. That's
Speaking of tapisserie and how it can be reinvented,
oof.
this is the famous Carolina Bucci, the Florentine jewelry designer, who basically had this urban inspiration, right? You see like a puddle of oil,
Yeah,
on asphalt, and like it gets all these rainbow
rainbowy.
like reflections, right? So it kind of imitates that grid-like structure of tapisserie, but in a very different way. This was a limited edition that they introduced in the 50th anniversary back 3 years ago. Um, but yeah, there's something quite um, cool that I appreciate about
Yeah,
the tapisserie as well.
I'm not a huge fan of the open works. I don't know.
No,
I've seen it so many times. It's such a coveted watch that I've sort of looked at the elements of the open works for, I don't know, quite a long time, and I'm just sort of okay. It's not that interesting to me.
I think I'll share this with my friend who always complains. Uh, Horology Ancienne. It's like the father son couple. I usually talk with the son on Instagram.
Hmm.
Um, he always complains about how many variations they gave to the double balance wheel open work specifically. And like you said, I've seen it too many times, right? So it does, sometimes it does exhaust the collectability of a certain category when a brand just puts out so many different iterations of it that it gets a little bit stale, right? It loses its originality. And again, coming from the vintage, neo-vintage perspective, I have in the past, not missed the artisanal quality of older AP open work watches. But I came to terms with what this is and how special it is in its own way. I don't know if you heard that part of my conversation with OC last night, but also, I really value the fact that AP doesn't just do like Zenith Open Heart, which is something I want to discuss with you, like the status of Zenith as a brand. That's our next
that's
topic.
great.
But AP never does something, never gives open heart to a watch that's where there's nothing to see, right? Where there's not one component that's explicitly highlighted, whether it's the gears of an under the dial works of a perpetual calendar, or this open worked batwing style balance bridge of the doubled balance wheel, which serves as a tool that ensures increased stability and precision. There's something to see, right? It's not open worked just because, right? You are not just looking at a random set of gears. You're looking at a movement that displays some sort of technical innovation. Whether you're impressed by that or not, that's up to you. But there is at least a reason behind it. That being said, of course, that the quality of finishes, especially hand finished details, could be increased. The quality and quantity, I should say. There are, machine burrs that you can detect in certain finishes that, shouldn't belong to a watch of this caliber. But I still like them. But there are too many variations, right? Some variations I don't like at all. Oh, we do. That's a surprise. Evan H, 199. Thank you so much. Super chat for intelligent watch talk. Cantaroonies.
Cantaroonies. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, well, I mean, I only said that word because I'm sitting on a panel with an Aussie, right? So it's I feel like I have the liberty. Can I use the C word?
Yeah.
Aussie? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cantaroonies. Yes, that's it. By the way, there was a huge group from Melbourne who have a cigar lounge there, and they kind of have an exchange program of sorts. Like every year,
really?
They come like a dozen Aussie men touring the US. Like they visit a few places in Vegas, visit a few places in Los Angeles, then go to the Dominican Republic to to go to manufacturers and get those tours and everything. We had just a great time.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, let's put a little stop to the AP talk. I do want to bring up this Instagram
brilliant
post that, again, it's not by a random person. It's not a Zenith fan. It's not it's not a random ambassador of the brand either. This is actually the CEO of LVMH watches and Bulgari, by the way. He was elevated to this position, but he still keeps his CEO position at Bulgari as well. Head of LVMH watches, Jean-Christophe Babin. And as you might know, they just introduced Zenith Chronomaster Sport with a meteorite dial. Again, none of this, for me, up until you read something like this, none of this means so much to me, right? Rolex doesn't have a deed to the world supply of meteorite. They are not the only brand that does ceramic bezels.
Mm-hmm.
So if all the similarities ended there, it could have been just fine. But apparently, this is actually Zenith's autobiography. This is their self-definition. Here's what J.C. Babin, Jean-Christophe Babin says. As the world's, imagine starting your sentence with this when you're advertising Zenith. As the world's most desirable chronograph, the Rolex Daytona is squarely in the sights of every one of its rivals. And there's arguably no closer competitor to the Daytona than Zenith's Chronomaster Sport. Not only does the ceramic bezeled sports watch resemble Rolex's chronograph,
How did that happen? How did that happen? It resembles it. Oh wow.
but an earlier version of its iconic El Primero automatic movement also powered a prior generation of the Daytona for over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of mindfuck, Ozzy? Can you say a few things about this?
Like, so whenever I see the Chronomaster Sport in person, I sort of reel in sort of this sort of gut sort of feeling when I see someone wear it's similar to when I see someone wearing a fake Rolex. You know what I mean? It's sort of like you're putting me in an awful situation because clearly I'm a watch guy and you want me to compliment your watch, but you're making it very, very difficult. I'm really disappointed in the yeah, okay, clearly the brands that are second to Rolex. I'm very disappointed in Omega and Zenith because very often they make it very clear that they don't think higher of themselves than their customers do. You know what I mean? That they're not actually aspiring to be number one or
But that
justifiably number one or arguably number one. They're
that's
just
it.
sort of like
That's it.
we're gonna just do the same thing. You like that? We know you can't get it. Just come to our store.
But that's the problem, right? Because you look at the sheer numbers, of course, Rolex is unrivaled. It sets the industry standard in so many more ways than just having the best sports chronograph.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you might love it, I might not like it, a third person might hate it, but we are talking about literally objective facts here. But imagine that your motivation is not to offer something different, something potentially better, something that puts a different aspect, different um, a future that would make the difference on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But you are basically marketing yourself as the second best, who has contributed to the way that Rolex propelled itself now 3 generations ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I find that to be a very sad state of affairs.
Julius is saying the Speedy is different. So yeah, my critique on Omega isn't like a sideswipe on the Speedmaster, unfortunately, but more that there was a set of releases that they did about 3 years ago
Yeah.
where you could just directly point at which Rolex they copied. So it went from Aquaterras of like 6 different colors, and you go, okay, that's the OPs. You get the green Seamaster, and I was like, that's the Hulk. You go, so there was just like one for one on all of their new releases. They were
That was
just
the
copies.
yellow gold Speedmaster with a green dial, etc.
Right.
So um, by the way, thank you guys. Thank you for watching the show. Please hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything, and it actually helps a lot. Subscribe if you haven't. I know a bunch of you are coming from Instagram. I'm lazy sometimes about posting the link. For once, I wasn't. So it's good to see how it actually has an effect. And just to welcome people, Grandmaster Chime, Robert Wood, Patek Chris. It's nice to see. Patek Chris also says, OC is back. I thought he got his channel canned for counterfeits. He got it back, and I'm sure he spoke on it much better in a much more detailed way than I can. But yeah, you get those kinds of strikes sometimes, and it's not always for the right reasons. I don't know the situation, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, Zenith, what can I say? And you also pointed out it isn't just the Chronomaster Sport. Um, there's another huge part of their catalog, which is, you could say it's they can defend it, but not when it's clear that their goal for the brand is to be the best luxury homage brand possible.
Yeah, look, I mean, yeah, another segment of their catalog is basically Royal Oak homage, like the second best integrated bracelet sports wise. Like, that even the materials they use, the complications they present, even the designs. I had a one-to-one example of this on Instagram, so I'm just scrolling down until I find it. But it's
And they even
very
have a
straightforward.
tapisserie like dial, like
That's right,
it's
with the Zenith star. But even the
yeah.
layout of that dial for this particular tourbillon release was exactly the same. And sometimes the picture speaks a thousand words, like this Instagram post, by the way. So I don't even know if we need to
Yeah.
beat this dead horse, but I do want to share how certain iterations of the Defy, that's the other watch we're talking about beyond the Chronomaster Sport, are so similar to, like, where there's a one-to-one correspondence, like you said about Omega's releases from a few years back, to what has been done before by another brand. And I don't know. I don't know. To me, it doesn't sit right. Especially, it doesn't sit right for two reasons. One, Zenith is a legacy brand, and they do have a damn good legacy. That El Primero movement they're talking about is only one part of it, right? Having led the development of the world's first integrated self-winding chronograph movement. That's not a small feat. The caliber 135, like, with which they have won so many chronometry competitions in their own time, and which they started highlighting more recently. I thought that was a great step. That's another aspect of their legacy. The other part that bothers me is, again, they are owned by one of the biggest and strongest luxury conglomerates ever. Like, it's the Optimus Prime of
Mm,
luxury, LVMH.
yeah.
Like, it's not like they're lacking capital for R&D for their own designs. It's not like they're a suffering brand.
Yeah. And their movements are good in their own. So it's really just at the design and brand level, all the problems exhibit themselves. I wouldn't mind taking a look at the Defy I posted in private chat. Um,
We can look at that
oh
next.
yeah,
This was
it's a,
this
it's
was
savage.
like, honestly, of course, you are. Why not? If you have an integrated bracelet watch, um, by all means, make a tourbillon version of it yourself. But are you really going to copy, like, even the layout of the tapisserie that they did for this exploding or cobblestone like pattern, which was something that, again, they complemented the flying tourbillon with? In Zenith's case, it's also a lesser uh, you know uh, movement or mechanism, so to speak, because it's not a flying tourbillon. But leave that aside, right? Why?
Hmm.
Yeah, Oscar Wilde has as always, said the most beautiful sentence about this: "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." It's that's the least you can do if you
Yeah,
want to
but
exist.
imagine paying $59,000 for that.
Imagine paying anything for
Yeah.
that.
It's just, it's just wild. It's super wild.
This is the Defy Skyline 36 that you just.
Yeah, yeah. So sort of leading on from that. So this in person is quite pretty. My wife tried it on. It'd be a nice watch for her.
Mhm.
That being said, $9,000, that's actually a lot of money. When you would say, okay, well, Rolex will sell me an OP36 for like 6,000 or 5,600 at the time I think I looked at this. I'm like, why would I pay $3,000, $4,000 more for this over a Rolex OP36, also in a funky color? Yeah, I can't get it's hard to get the Rolexes. My wife did get a Rolex OP36 before this, but
The the pink one, right? The candy
yeah,
pink one. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a beautiful one. I think I
Um,
might, if I were in the business of getting retail watches, that I might have gotten my one for myself. By the way, guys, I had a humble goal of 5 super chats of $5 or more in the first hour, which is slowly expiring. In which case, I was gonna go until midnight. So if you want to contribute to that, if you want this to continue beyond the next half hour, feel free to contribute. Otherwise, just keep that in mind. In either case, hit the like button. Um, that happens. Brody says Zenith's 12-sided bezel preceded the Royal Oak. I know, Brody. I know that the Defy existed before the Royal Oak. That's fine. I get the argument. I think it came out either 67 or 68. That being said, um, to say that especially after the image that I showed, and I know you own the Royal Oak, by the way. Brody doesn't say this from a coping standpoint, right?
mhm.
He has a beautiful early example of the 40th anniversary Royal Oak Jumbo. So
Wow.
it's not like he's coming from a different point of view of
Mhm.
trying to defend Zenith. But the point is, today's Zenith's Defy is copying whatever is popular for the Royal Oak, right? The original design with that particular bezel may have preceded it, but it was a very different watch. It was a very different design than today's Defy. It wasn't even an integrated bracelet watch, if I'm not mistaken, Brody. So that's all I'm going to say. I think you bring up a valid point, right? Um, we can't deny that. But today's designs, what Zenith is doing today, right? And again, if you look into that argument, that's exactly what Jean-Christophe Babin is saying as well. Hey,
Mhm.
previous generations of Rolex was using our movement. Yes, because you were at the forefront of innovation
Mhm.
that day. So get on that same program,
Yeah.
right? That's actually Brody. Yeah. Yes. If you invented a 12, unique bezeled sporty design before AP, let's try to get back to that program where you were leading rather than merely following.
Brody's super chat.
Thank you, Brody.
Thank
Brody,
you. Yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, I think the fact that they actually have a history makes it sort of like a little extra sad. Uh,
Yeah.
just because it depends how you take it. But when you get it from the horse's mouth that what they're trying to do is be the second best to other brands, then it's like, okay, all right, what we guessed was true, basically. And like we've actually criticized Zenith before, but hearing it from the CEO of watches for their group is outrageous.
Yeah. Enjoy your night, OC. Thank you. I'm guessing you're saying that because otherwise you would have jumped on the panel, which is something I appreciate.
But could you imagine if you owned the Chronomaster Sport and hearing that. And I know someone who's got one, but um, yeah, I
Do you
mean,
think they would mind though? Do you think people don't know this already? No.
I I don't know. I find it difficult to imagine anyone spending like thousands of dollars on something that they felt was second best. But it happens all the time. The number, like most Omega customers, were trying to get a Rolex. Like it's like I'm done with this brand. I'll go over here. They'll take my money. It's like okay, yeah, they will. It's like go ahead.
Brody says, I have a 2014 15202. I don't own any Zeniths, but I do like their Defy collection. Yeah, Brody, that's
Lovely,
exactly what I was saying. Right?
lovely.
It's a very beautiful
Oh,
watch.
interesting.
Good
Yeah, I
feel.
mean, he says he likes the Defy collection. That's cool. I mean, I think they're not ugly watches. I think they are overpriced. I mean, I think $9,000 for this is a little much. I don't think this is better than an OP. And it's like a huge premium over an OP. You could almost get an OP on the secondary for this much.
Honestly, if I had a friend who had a Zenith Defy, I would love to take it out for a spin, so to speak, right?
Hmm.
Wear that bracelet for a few days to see, how it actually feels. Because I think, if especially if we're talking about an integrated bracelet design, whatever we mean by that by now, by the way, people call integrated bracelet just about anything at this point.
Mm.
And because inversely now, because the modularity is priced, all these integrated bracelets actually can be taken apart in seconds, to change it in. So, times have changed. I understand that. But I think at the end of the day, the comfort of it on a day-to-day basis, how well it sits on the wrist, um, whether the quality is there or not, that makes or breaks these kinds of designs. So, from a design perspective, um, I I'm not a fan, anyways, because I do find it, at least in its current um, status, current condition, I do find it very iterative of the Royal Oak and unoriginal. But that being said, I think between the price point and the daily comfort of daily wear is most of what matters when it comes to the final judgment on these kinds of watches.
It's probably why the Land Dweller has such a weird dial. they're, try, they're trying to remove as much direct correlation to the Rolex possible. Now, I think Rolex, in their heart of hearts, are trying to do their best, but they probably threw on the numbers to make sure it's not confused for a Royal Oak dial.
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But then again, they also have already, um, the baguette versions, which give
Yeah,
you
which
a
is
glimpse of,
ridiculous.
how it might look once, though that 3.9, sorry, 6.9 is a limit. That's what I mean, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
we want the 3.69. So if this model didn't have a date, this time I'm not even complaining about the date window, please. I don't want to say that. Um, but if it were a 3.69 dial, I think there would be more justification about keeping the numerals there, the oversized
Mm,
3.69. It looks a little bit off to me, the 6.9, if I
mm,
really get picky about it. But when I look at something like this,
mm.
you know, I, I think it looks quite cool. And I actually like the honeycomb pattern on the
Yeah.
dial.
I did get to see the Land Dweller in person.
Hmm.
I do have a video of it on our watch channel, but it might be quite a ways back. But um, oh, I've got a short actually.
Oh, you do
And
on? Okay,
yeah, yeah,
let's
I
pull
do.
that up.
Um,
It's on your watch channel, of course, right?
yeah,
At Aussie Expat Watches.
yeah. Um, in person, it's a very nice watch. It's very thin. Um, it's a very refined watch. It I tend not to like the non-sporty stuff, but it's sort of undeniably very, very nice. I don't
It's
think
not
it's like
sporty enough for you as a design.
yeah. I mean, I don't have a date
No.
just as an example. I don't have a day date. I'm not really into straight up dress watches, but you know, or dressy watches, depending what how you frame categories. And it's just a very, very nice watch. I probably wouldn't pay 20 plus $1,000 for it. I'm not even sure what they're fetching on grey market. They're probably astronomical.
Yeah.
But would I take one at retail? I would say yes. But I wouldn't remove everything else from my wish list before getting one. I think it's fantastic. It's just not really for me.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, I bought stupid things before.
Look, I mean, to me, when you ask me, I actually like it a lot. I like that it comes, um, in analogy to what I said about AP. Rolex also doesn't do things without reason, right? You might disagree with it. You might not find it a compelling reason, but um, they always think before they do something. And trust me, you can't say that about all companies in the watch industry. So they have I think they have a very innovative movement in terms of serially
Mm,
produced mechanical movements. I love how they are not going willy-nilly about using silicon components across the board, and they are introducing it always on thinner watches that where they can save on not using the Breguet overcoil, right? So um, there is there's something to be said there. Um, Again, they're not just going exhibition case back, whatever, right? Unless they're showing off some sort of movement innovation for their own terms, right? Within their own um, purview. That being said, like with all those things, um, I wish. Look, I mean, even you said like I don't have a date just or day date. I
mm,
don't. I wouldn't. I would. I would like to tell you I can't see the parallel, Aussie. What are you talking about? But it is there because, like, why do we have a flat Jubilee integrated bracelet and a fluted bezel?
mm.
Right? When you are introducing something so new to your collection, and let's admit it, Rolex jumped on this bandwagon of integrated watches a little bit too late.
Mm.
So you have to do something different. I wish they designed a new bracelet for it.
Mm.
That wasn't just a flat integrated version of the Jubilee. I wish they designed a new bezel for it.
That
Um,
that could be interesting if they had a new bezel. I think they just wanted to have like signature Rolex looks in there, so it's still,
yeah,
still quote unquote undeniably Rolex. So
I'm.
the
That's
Jubilee
why. That's why I
aspect,
like you, Aussie,
yeah.
because I would have to tell this to myself if you weren't here, because that's how I also defend. By the way, Lange's Odysseus, right?
Hmm.
People would say, "Well, this is not a sports watch. It doesn't even look like a sports watch." Well, it looks like a Lange,
Hmm.
right? And I think that's what they tried to do. And in the same way, right? If you weren't here, I would have defended. I would have to step out of my body and say,
Yeah.
they wanted to have this watch look like Rolex because Rolex has been burned so many times for their own success. Whenever
Hmm.
they're trying to introduce a new line, right? And Cellini was a victim of this,
Hmm.
and do something that differs so much from the classic Rolex look. Whatever novelty they offer, they might put a moon phase indicator into that watch. It might be ultra thin compared to the rest of the Rolex line and very elegant as a dress watch. people will just not consider it because it's not Rolex. Right? It doesn't look like Rolex.
Right.
So coming back
I mean,
to it, what I agree completely with what you said. They wanted to make it look like signature Rolex.
yeah, in engineering terms, like when I approach a project, it's not just me. There's a certain number of innovation. Like you have a goal, you have a mission, and there's a certain number of innovation cards that you get to play. As in, are we going to try do this with a different design process? Are we going to do a new this, a new that? And you have to know when your cards are done. Like you can't just say every element of something we're going to reinvent. And the Land Dweller already does the integrated bracelet for Rolex. It already does an incredibly innovative movement, and it's sort of trying to do this, find its place within the catalog of like where is it? It's above a date just, it's below a date perhaps. But like they clearly just had to sort of like stop at the bezel and a cyclops and a sort of a Jubilee style bracelet, because like otherwise it wouldn't look like a Rolex anymore.
That's it. That's it. And again, I see that point, and I'm not just gonna beat them up for not delivering exactly what I want. But yeah, those were primarily my disappointments. But again, I'm sort of doing the same kind of cope that Patek fans were doing with the Cubitus, right? When they were saying, well, I don't really like it, but I look forward to how this collection will develop over time. So I'll pull, speaking of cards, that's the cope card that I will
Yeah.
pull as a Rolex fanboy. Like, I don't exactly like it as it is, but I'm willing to see how it develops.
Julius is saying he'd rather a DJ. I think for most people, just get a DJ, and it's not because you're settling. The Datejust is a lovely piece, and you get to choose from any number of crazy dials and configurations. It's a fantastic, watch. It's a fantastic watch. There's like with the Land Dweller, you either love or hate this exact model. That's it. You get you get two sizes, 36 and 41, but I really don't know where this lineup goes. Are they going to introduce like lots of crazy dials? Are they going to do further movement innovations? Like it's sort of, who really knows how this shapes up? And I'm not saying, I'm expecting them to stumble and fall or something like that. It's just, it's very unclear what the Land Dweller will be in 20 years' time, I think.
Of course. And, it might not be. That's also a possibility. Again, I would like to think, again, in my fanboy mind, that Rolex doesn't make mistakes, but they do. And sometimes these new lines that promise so much innovation and something different,
It could become the Milgauss.
even a different flavor, simply doesn't survive because it's not what Rolex's customer base is used to. By the way, the goal ended. We didn't make it, but there are 15 more minutes. So if we get one super chat of $20, I will certainly go until midnight. Of course, I don't bind Ozzy with that. He can leave whenever he wishes, but I have a bunch of topics lined up to talk about if he so chooses to leave. Is there? We haven't been on a live for a while. Oz. Do you have anything special that you want to talk about? I know you think about these things.
No, I haven't been really focused
No?
on the pieces too much. I've been all my thoughts have been on the watch chat on the Discord. So things like the interesting one today is what's the best field watch? And I don't think it's the Explorer. I think it's the Submariner, or maybe the FXD.
Wait, but you realize you are completely trampling on like the whiz / watch fam logic. Like, how can you even say
Right.
Submariner is a field watch. So
Yeah, yeah.
you have to
It's
explain
not a
yourself.
field watch by design, but I mean, as in, what's the best watch to go hiking and camping and all this other stuff?
Yeah,
Like, there's no way I would do that with my Explorer because it's got that polished bezel, and it's just not particularly functional. You know what I mean? I actually like having a dive timer when I'm doing hikes because that way I can time how much time it took to get in. That way I can figure out how much time it'll take to get out. I just
right.
set it to the hour hand so that I
That's
know
it.
which way. So
Or-
that's actually quite useful because otherwise you'll forget and then it's like, oh, how much time before it gets dark? It's like, oh, I'm gonna be fucked.
That's it.
So yeah, for all of the outdoorsy stuff, I really like a diver. But for sport, I use an Explorer, and I would totally use a 1908.
And or your Explorer 2 for that matter,
Yeah,
which
the
also
Explorer
has
2 does
a
all. Yeah,
which, but again, as you said, which does have a, even though that bezel is kind of sunray brushed, it still has a bezel that's a little more prone to
yeah, it's a little
damage
tougher.
compared to the ceramic. No, I mean, I think you present a good case. It has, the Submariner has better water resistance, which is not only about, like, submerging yourself in water, but it's simply
Anything you
more
get up to.
protective of the innards of the watch when you're in the elements. It has a timer.
Hmm.
Um,
It's more legible in the
it's more,
dark, which, yeah, you're
yeah,
camping
it's
in the
more
dark and you're
robust.
gonna see it.
And legibility, after all, right? That's
Yeah.
that's what really makes the field watch.
Yes.
That's why field watches, as well as early pilot watches, had those oversized numerals
Yeah.
and thick hands. That's why they had so much luminous material on the dial, because they needed to be legible under even deprived light conditions.
Yeah. Absolutely. So basically, even though it wasn't designed for the field, it
Right.
it it all of the elements of a diver lend itself to being a really great field watch. And like, don't take my word for it. I mean, this is the Navy SEALs watch, and it's not because they're just diving. I mean, Navy SEALs spend most of their time on land. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's it's a diver that evidently that they're choosing these days as military watches, and not because everyone's always diving or they're using it lends itself to all of the elements basically.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a reason that um, you know when micro brands were all the rage, like, where everyone had a Kickstarter campaign for their
Hmm.
own watch brand. There's a reason why most of them were dive watches, right? Because it is
Yeah.
in many ways the makings of a contemporary sports watch. It's just the best one. So it does make sense that especially we as civilians would take it
Yeah.
hiking and get the best performance out of it. Yeah, I mean, I wear also my Submariner, even though it's a much less technical watch, compared to a modern Submariner, on a NATO strap. That's what I wear if I ever go hiking. And please kill me when you see me hiking next time, because I
Dude.
I actually don't. If you ever see me hiking in Southern California, it means I'm on a date. I'm dating someone, and kill me on sight, because I have retired from that. I don't do that anymore. So if you catch me slipping, please save me from myself.
Yeah. The Yeah, yeah, I have actually hiked with my Daytona a few times.
Hmm.
It's not a good option. It's like it is not legible compared to a diver, and believe me, I'm not using the timing function on the
Hmm.
chronograph. Like, that's just not happening. Even though it's more ideal, like literally has hours and minutes. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
trying to read that is just not as feasible.
but that's the thing, and I know a lot of people, for that reason, if they actually use their Daytona as some sort of chronograph, leave the screw down pushers unscrewed.
Yeah.
Um, Certainly, Justin Bieber does. If you go to my Instagram and
Oh, he's
look what I
upgraded from the Ballon Bleu. Okay.
no, he actually wore. Oh, I have to share this because you'll see that he has been wearing this watch since 2012. Um,
Wow. Okay.
it's just that he's coming back to his roots, so to speak. He's on
Oh
a
wow. Okay.
smoothie run in LA,
Oh yeah, you can actually see that it's fully out.
and here too. And then don't get scared, no jump scares.
Hmm. Wow.
Right? It's the same watch from
Wow.
literally from 13 years ago when he was 18, I think.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, it was a gold Daytona. It was a 116528 that he was wearing even then.
Very, very cool. Um,
Uh, but
yeah, I mean, I love Gold Daytona now. It's
yeah,
I don't
I
know.
know, I know, and you even tricked yourself into buying another one when you could have gotten the platinum one. So you don't have to tell me again. I know you love a gold Daytona. But what happened with that? Would you actually go for a platinum Daytona now if the opportunity
Yes.
comes up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, um, well, financially, I was in it, even though it's only like, when did that happen? Jeez. Was it last year? Yeah, it was just last year.
It's been a while, but
I
yeah,
think it was
last
like
year.
October last year. Honestly, a lot has happened in the last like 10 months,
Good or
and
bad? Hopefully
uh,
good.
very good. It's been a roller coaster, but it's been very good. TLDR, I've got a lot more money now than I did then,
Hmm.
and it's good that I didn't put 100K plus towards a watch exactly at that time. I mean, and a few months made a big difference. So when I bought the gold Daytona, I literally had like way more. Like I don't want to say real numbers, not because I'm shy. I
No,
just don't want
that's
to
okay.
sound like
That's
I'm
okay. You
bragging.
don't
It's
need
just
to. No.
financially, like it worked out really, really well to, and the gold Daytona costs half. Well, not even half. So and
Yeah.
as we know, the prices went up on January 1 for gold, but not so much platinum. So in yeah, I'm pretty happy with the order of things. And if I got a platinum now, I wouldn't see it as um, any any loss of time. Like I could have had it. So the issue with, if I got the platinum, I probably wouldn't have gotten the gold.
Hmm.
But I really love the gold. So so maybe I'll end up with both, hopefully. But I think I would still be happy enough to let go of the platinum if it never came my way. Um, but I don't think I would be happy if I didn't have like this high energy piece, that I could go out with my wife and we've both got gold Daytonas. I mean, it doesn't get any better, basically. We actually went to a nightclub for the first time in 11 years together.
Nice.
Um, so it was at Fontainebleau. I can't remember what the nightclub was called, Live or something. I don't know, but yeah, we were with another couple, and we all had really baller watches, but two gold Daytonas. There's no there's no going up on that unless you both of you had like two gold Royal Oaks. That
Amen.
might be cool.
Yeah, since you are not impressed by the stainless steel.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
It's
secondary
nothing.
market. I mean, gold Daytonas are worth more than steel. I mean, I'm not saying value is everything, but just to be objective about it, for some kind of objective measure, the gold Daytonas still fetch a pretty penny.
Yeah, I mean, the times have changed. Times
Hmm.
have changed because in the past, and actually, you talked about this quite a bit um, in the IDIS. I'm going to stay on with you for a little longer. Otherwise, I was going to close. But since you are coming, I would never want to turn you down. How have you been, man?
I'm good, man, and you can turn it. You can go. It's okay.
No, no. Morning coffee, is
G'day,
that
Des.
what it is?
Yeah, with Mozart, as you can see.
Amazing. And what are you wearing? What's on the wrist?
Oh, the Planet Ocean, 42.
Cool.
Cool.
So just to point out, I think Steel Panda Daytonas are starting to overtake a few 15500s in price.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, the last time this happened was like when I got my Panda, and it was like 50,000, and Royal Oaks were about 50,000 at the same time too. So we're starting to see Royal Oaks trending below Daytonas again.
Yeah, yeah. And but right when this was coming, I was gonna say, and this is something you have observed on your channel, quite a bit of times. Like, there's no, even though tastes have adjusted and people don't see buying what were originally sports watches or sporty watches in precious metal anymore, still don't have the kind of data to see whether that would be sustainable in terms of the price trends on the secondary market. So that being said, something has changed about the industry as well, because with that stigma lifted, they have now started using precious metal pieces as an easy way, as quite an at-hand way of premiumizing their products, right? They basically that's an easy way for them to increase sticker price by factors of 2, 3 sometimes.
Have we got a time portal here? We've got someone on webcam straight into the 70s. It's amazing.
I think the thing that makes that actually funny is because this is aesthetic is also very, like, very 60s, 70s, 80s, right?
Yeah.
You could certainly see him belonging to that time too.
Yeah.
He's content with it, as you can see.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
I
But-
prefer the past over the present. So
Sure. I mean, but you got to have a gold watch with this look right now. You got to have a gold watch. This is too cool for steel.
Well, forget about first. Start with what is absolutely necessary. Do you have a gold chain?
I
Forget
do
about
actually
gold.
have a high. I have a high.
Of course you
Yes.
do.
I need a PRX or something.
Right, gold PRX.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
How's it going? How you been?
Yeah, it's good. Getting back to work. Summer is over, right?
Yeah.
Summer vacation is over.
But
It's
you
good.
are don't dox yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Some people just have time off in the summer.
Well, I mean, those people are usually in certain kinds of businesses, no?
Yeah. Not buying any new watches. Content with what I have, very important, right?
I think as a life philosophy, that is in fact very important. That just being happy with what we have.
Yeah, like you buy one watch, like in I don't know, a year, or even more.
Yeah, it's even less now. But last time I bought a watch was
About 1 year.
my Royal Oak, and that was March 2024. Yeah.
Mhm.
I haven't bought anything since, and I'm not gonna buy anything until I get my jumbo finally, and I don't know when that will happen, but one day.
I'm content, but I still have things on my wish list. OP41 in blue, Platinum
Blue?
Daytona. Yeah, I like the new blue. It's
Okay.
like no one else cares about it. I really like it. To me, it's my Smurf. It's like a $6,000 Smurf. You know, like instead of paying $40,000 for the white gold thing, I'd rather have the OP. Yeah, the Platinum Daytona, and I guess I accidentally asked for a Land Dweller, but
Accidentally.
yeah, I think they do. So I saw an AMA, and it's like twice now. They talked about the Rolex asking ADs for their wish lists, as in like they want to know how much interest is in specific models, and that they're tailoring their output to the AD based on whether or not they have a deep wish list for a model.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I half think they asked me whether or not I wanted to a Land Dweller was more to pad out the wish list a little better, but I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It seems different. I've never been asked about wish list before.
It's I like, the one thing I like about this watch is that they call it med blue, as in med for Mediterranean. I guess that's what I'm assuming.
Wait, does it actually say that? I thought it was just blue.
No, it does say it right here.
On the
Oyster
dial.
Perpetual 41
Wow.
with a med blue dial and an oyster
I'm pretty sure
bracelet.
in the configurator it just says blue.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true. But
Interesting.
no, it
Oh,
does
it's med
actually
blue.
med blue actually. Even in
That's
the
got to be
configurator.
different. I did
I thought
not remember that. This is the first time I've ever seen that.
I thought they were saying just blue on the configurator, and then here it was med blue, but no, even there it says med blue.
I must be so wrong, because I've looked at this watch many times. I do not remember them calling it med blue. Not a bad name, I don't care, but it's just, it'd be interesting if it actually did change. I don't.
It's um, from a marketing standpoint, it matters. I
Yeah.
know part of Rolex's marketing sometimes is just being absolutely Swiss and boring about it, and call things blue without branding it and saucing it up in an extra way.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of these like successful um, clothing brands, for example, that have just popped up, kind of riding on the quiet luxury wave, uh, literally every time they release a new collection, you really see most of their intellectual energy goes into finding inventive names for the colors that their new line of sweaters come with. That like once they have settled on a few basic designs. So it's I think it matters. It matters.
I see what's interesting. I'm seeing people call it the medium blue, or blue medium, not as in like Mediterranean, but medium.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think the fact that they just called it med blue, I think it's again, it's kind of calling something turquoise blue,
Hmm.
realizing that it is resembling and is in competition with other Tiffany blue dial watches,
Yeah.
but still, shying away from that controversy of being lumped into that hype. It's same here, right? You find a name called Med Blue, which some people might just read medium blue if they want it to be boring
Mm.
and normal and not, you know, not breaking the envelope, so to speak. People who want it to sound more exciting and more hype would call it Mediterranean blue,
Yeah.
and it works both ways. You can pull it every which way.
Man, I'm just watching video of this watch. I
Mhm.
I I want it bad. It's very very cool. It's to me it's like a better Smurf.
Patek Krista's met for Medvedev, our favorite tennis man. That I
Hmm.
I have not, that he really has a bad way these days. I mean, in the sense that he went against the same look. I mean, I've even forgotten the name of the opponent, but he went against him in Wimbledon, and he was muttering to himself, saying like, in French, oh, why don't you play like this every day and be a millionaire? And but you find one day a year to play this well against me and whatever, and that the same guy beats him in the U.S. Open as well. And this time he had a complete meltdown because, the umpire allowed him to repeat a first serve because someone entered the court, a photographer entered the court. But of course, Medvedev is a Beauvais ambassador, so it can't be met for Medvedev in this case. Patek Chris says, I'm wearing a blue dial Aquanaut. I like that blue as well.
Mm-hmm. That dial makes me think of Greece or.
Yeah, so it does. Like, you see, it does matter. What name they choose. I think it's more inspiring. And again, if you don't want to be so inspired, you can simply call it medium blue. And that's fine too.
It's like a book or a movie, like it's open to interpretation. It's.
But the white gold Submariner in blue, it has a real energy to it. Now I know it's like a dog on the market, but man, I don't know. In person, it just has an energy that I think, even compared to the Platinum Daytona, it might be higher. Like, I don't know, like seeing those side by side Platinum, because incidentally, that's what happened. We also looked at the white gold Submariner. It was just like, no, white gold Submariner. Just it's something about it. There's something about it. This blue and a white steel.
Trap Vision 3D says that's a gorgeous blue. We do agree. Mirko Lukic, I think you're coming from Instagram, so I will answer your question just because of that. Usually, as we take this adage from Archie, I don't do shit for free, but hey, once every so often. I take something with a Kari-Voutilainen connection. Should I buy number 1, Schwarz Etienne, Roma Synergy Gray, 2, Urban Jürgensen, reference Big 8 Japan limited edition of 20 pieces? Listen, I'm not trying to diss. I'm not trying to, piss on your party, so to speak. But the connection, the Voutilainen connection in both cases is quite loose, even looser on the Urban Jürgensen. Of course, Kari Voutilainen had a lot to do with the original revival of Urban Jürgensen, and now he has taken on this new leadership role in the new era of Urban Jürgensen, but he has very little to do with the Japan limited edition of the Big 8. I mean, again, aesthetically, obviously, what he makes as an independent takes a lot after the kind of style he developed, especially for guilloche dials when he was working with Urban Jürgensen. But the connection to me seems a little loose. I do like the reference 8, especially those examples of it that do not have a date. Again, I'm saying the same thing over and over, but hey, it is what it is. I'm going to pull up this watch. I do like the Big 8 Japan edition for maybe partly for that reason, Mirko, because it does not have a date. I think it's a gorgeous watch. Again, I wouldn't buy it because of this imagined connection to Kari Voutilainen, because it's very slight. I would buy it if you like this aesthetic, if you want a modern dress watch that the 40 millimeter for me is a little oversized, but if that's your choice, if that's what looks good on your wrist, I think this is a great watch. If you can find one on the market. Again, because it is a limited edition, you should go for it. I like it a lot. Again, I prefer the reference 8 in 37 millimeter, but this is a beautiful, beautiful piece. I like the aesthetic as well. The Schwarz Etienne is easier to secure, I think, arguably, but it is more or less in the same price range. Or maybe this is possibly a little cheaper. I think, again, arguably, the connection here is a little stronger because of the guilloche dials that are actually made in collaboration with Lutilainen. The movement itself is also very nicely decorated. I love a micro rotor movement. Between the two, I would take the Urban Jürgensen Big 8. Take on my talk. Aussie expat. The wife picked up the 36 Tiffany from AD and he put me down for that blue. Miracles happen. Yeah, I remember this news. Cool.
Muted.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, any OP honestly is basically a gift for a VIP. So yeah, very, very big congrats on that. That's an amazing pickup, the Tiffany. And then yeah, hopefully you can get the blue as well. I think it's a very masculine and beautiful OP in whichever size you choose. I tell you what the worst part about the OP being so fucking ridiculous is that it'd be the best beater watch. Like if you were going, like my wife has a lot of watches and her beater is a Black Bay 36, which is like $4,000. Realistically, another $2,000 and she's got an OP. But there isn't a single OP that you'd want to see beating the shit out of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like it's technically a $6,000, $7,000 watch, but you know it's actually worth like 17,000 sort of range. It's not. That can't be a beater. That's all there is to it.
Well, I mean, obviously, people wear all sorts of watches as a beater, but that's solid logic, when you think about the. Although I have to say, we have come down a little bit from the absolute heights of the hype, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it has become a little more normal to wear OPs and possibly buy certain colors that are not as incredibly popular as a Tiffany blue or candy pink or other discontinued in that size kind of dial colors. So I think we are coming slightly back to normal for certain options, but it's still really too popular for its own good. That's for sure in terms of the valuation on the secondary market.
Yeah. It's sort of it's tricky. Well, also how hard it was to get as well. Like,
Right.
if you even if you got it for retail, it's like it probably meant a lot to you because you waited a long time. You passed on a lot of other things you could have had on your wish list to get it during that time as well. So it's hard to justify it being your wife's beater, basically.
Mirko, you're most welcome. Thank you, and thank you also following me on from Instagram. And if you are not subscribed here, please do subscribe. Anyone who is not subscribed and who has followed the link from Instagram, please do so because I'm trying to grow this platform as well. You're wearing the 41 Royal Oak. It's too big. Well, I mean, 40 millimeters with that particular case design in the Urban Jürgensen Big 8, it's going to be a little smaller. well, considerably smaller than a 41 integrated bracelet watch. I mean, obviously, in terms of the dimensions, I think if you find, for example, the Daytona 6263 to be more ideal, even that might just lead you towards the Schwarz Etienne Roma Synergy. But again, I think I like the classic dress watch looks of the Urban Jorgensen Big 8. It might not have as much, fireworks on the dial in terms of the guilloche work and whatever, but I think from the Breguet numerals to the observatory set of hands, it's just more stately. The teardrop lugs, the stepped bezel, etc. It's just a more timeless dress watch design. A little bit oversized for my taste, but 40 millimeter won't be as big as a 41 millimeter integrated bracelet watch. So, all right, I think we are slowly wrapping up. Do you have something to share with the audience? Something to say, to plug, anything?
First, I join you in saying like, share, subscribe, tell your friends.
Fucking bucket friend.
Nice vid, Brando.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Brando film.
Right.
Brando.
Finally coming. Waltzing with Brando, right?
Yeah.
With the second most famous Brando lookalike, Billy Zane.
Billy Zane, yeah.
Unfortunately,
Wow.
they
When's
didn't
the last
cast
time
me.
he was in a movie?
They didn't cast me for the offer. They didn't cast me for this. It's a disaster, man.
Yeah.
They didn't even cast me to become the ambassador of Brando Gin. It's a disaster.
Well, it's Labor Day weekend. I don't know if you got anything planned.
I don't, but I do have Aussie. I thought you said interesting simply when I said this, but I do have an event in LA on the 18th, a watch event in a boutique. This is going to be my first event. Starts at 5 p.m. If you somehow are visiting Southern California, I'd love to have you as a guest as well.
Thank you.
This is our Mediterranean. California.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to come from that Mediterranean to our shores, you would be my guest as well. But Ozzy has been to LA before, and maybe he can make a quick escape for an evening /
Yeah, we'll see.
whatever. But yeah, just
think
keep it in mind.
We'll see. Yeah, the only other thing is I've got a. Yeah, we'll see. I'll be in Southern California. Well, I don't. Depends what you count Southern Cal. I'll be in Southern California this weekend actually, but in Big Bear.
Oh no, I mean that's. I was just telling you that, I don't even hike, so I'm not. As much as I love you, I'm not coming to Big Bear. Absolutely not.
You guys ate at this Frankfurter place, right? The German sausages.
We did.
Yeah. Right. Something good, right? Something jongleur.
It was good. Yeah. I have not. I have not been impressed by most sausages in America.
Yeah, because the guy has seen Switzerland, so he knows how to eat the real bratwurst, so to speak. But no, that's one of my favorite places. Wurst. It's literally called Wurstküche.
Mm-hmm.
It's very German themed. There's all sorts of different beers on tap. Although Ozzy was being a great protective father, so he didn't even take a sip of the alcohol.
Good boy.
We had Junior with us as well. It was just a great time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great time. I already miss Ozzy whenever he can drop by. Again, no pressure. By the way, anyone else who is in the area or is maybe passing through Southern California and can come to Los Angeles / Beverly Hills on September 18th, again, 5 p.m., please just send me a DM on Instagram. I'm guessing most of you know what that is, like what my Instagram account is, but I'm going to send the link again. It's at young.brando on Instagram. Here I'm at youngbrando. So please, send me a DM. I can send you the details when the time comes, but it is going to be in a watch boutique. And it is going to be my first exclusive event. Space is limited, so if you're interested, please do. Oh, du bist aus Hamburg. Du wohnst
cool.
in Hamburg. That's great. I actually have a German friend here who is originally from Hamburg. As most of my friends are, he's like decades older than I am. Like great guy. That's his hometown, and he loves it. He swears by it. I visited Hamburg only once. Predictably, I prefer Berlin, but that's okay. Hamburg is a great port city, beautiful city, diverse city. I do like it. Yeah, I was gonna say, the name sounds very Serbian to me, but I'm not surprised because there are a lot of ex-Yugoslav people in Germany for sure. Absolutely. Nice, very very nice to meet you. Sehr geehrt, as they say in German.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are signing off. Everyone, thank you for following us. Thank you especially Evan H. and Brody for your generous super chats. Thank you everyone else for chiming in, for asking questions, for sharing your comments and perspective in the chat. I was happy to see some new names, some new faces. So I hope you will end up coming back. And most importantly, I was really happy to see again my two friends here, Dizordis and Ozzy Expat. All right. I, of course, the Serbian I know is mostly curse words. I don't even remember how to say thank you, Mirko. So my apologies, but I'll call you brate as a, in exchange of you calling me brother. I guess that's where my Serbo-Croatian ends. So, hvala. Okay, hvala brate. Is that how we say it, Mirko?
Hvala.
That should work.
Sounds Finnish.
Yeah, brate is brother. Yeah, that's right. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Signing off. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Wear and enjoy your watches. Bye.